YouTube, it's Satch. Welcome to Driver 81. You join me in the cockpit of this Audi A4 B8 2-litre diesel. It's a 2008 model. It's my old car. It's in silver with silver wheels. A car which I absolutely love. It is the perfect family saloon car. And I'm going to run through 5 things that I love about this car. Let's do business. So as I mentioned, this is my old car. I sold this car simply because we were getting a free car through the wife's company. So this car was surplus to requirements. However, I'm so confident that we would still own this car if we weren't getting a free company car. Okay, so we're going to talk about 5 things that I love about this car. And to be honest with you, I've probably got a list of about 10 to 15 things that I love about this car, but I appreciate I've only got about a 10-minute slot to get my message across. So the first thing I love about this car, and it is what instantly drew me to the car before I'd ever even driven the car. In fact, no, it wasn't the first one. This was the second Audi A4 B8 that I drove. The first one that I drove was not the S-Line. This is the S-Line kit. So it has the obviously the S-Line styling, and it has these lovely 18-inch Audi silver alloys. That is what I love in the looks of this car. The looks of the car are so dashing that everything I would expect and everything that I would want in a sports saloon car. Yeah, so the styling, it's a little bit more aggressive than the standard SE model. So we've got the S-Line skirts, we've got the different front bumpers. I think it's a different rear bumper, or maybe it's just a diffuser. I can't remember, it's been a few years since I owned this car. And then a few interior styling bits as well. You've got the S-Line badges on the steering wheel here. You've got a really sporty steering wheel. Sports seats as well. We've got the half leather trim, which these are really good. They're not really bucket seats, but they are sports seats. Anyway, that is the first thing that I love about this car. It's the looks of the car, and the looks of the car obviously derive from the S-Line trim that houses the car. Okay, so up next is the performance of the car. When I bought the car, it had 143 brake horsepower from the factory. Now I felt that that was a little bit underpowered for a sports saloon car. And when I was going through the rev range, I just wasn't really happy with the performance that I was getting from the car, and I always yearned for more. It did in fact lead me to think, have I done the right thing in buying this car? I really need more power out of a car. Until I stumbled across these, what they call plug and play chip boxes. You've probably heard of them, you may well even have one in your car yourself. I went on to a company called Race Chip. Now, online you will find mixed reviews on the Race Chip products. However, I've used them in this particular Audi A4. I've used them in BMWs before, I've used them in Mercedes-Benz before, and I'm very happy with the products that they offer and the amount of extra power, torque, and ultimate high-end horsepower that they offer. So it's 143 brake horsepower from standard. Once you fit the chip, which is about 125 pounds, it's very easy to do, by the way. You can do it on your own. I think they were offering, I think the final figure was about 160 to 165 brake horsepower with an extra 61 foot-pounds of torque. And believe me, it makes a big difference. I can feel such a big difference in the way the car drives now. It's so much more responsive, it's so much more torquier. These engines are already quite good, but it just kind of lifts that restriction that I feel the engine offers, if you like. Now, I'm not on a very good road here to demonstrate, so I'm not even going to try it because I've got 2 slow cars in front of me, which is a real shame. But that's the second thing that I love about this car. Okay, the next thing that I love about this car is the interior layout, the seats, the seat comfort, the ride comfort. It's just, other than the small rattles and vibrations that you may well get and don't help because the kid seats are in the back, Other than that though, it is everything I'd want in a sports saloon. I've got this kind of swooshing area here, which is just mine. It's just for the driver. Sometimes a lot of the cars, the center consoles here, they're open to sort of everybody else in the car. Whereas in this car, it gives you a sense that everything from here to here is just yours. The passenger does not have right of access from this point onwards. So it's very well laid out. You've got the dials and the clocks, the speedo here, and they flow very nicely into the radio system and the nav system. If you've got the nav, this car doesn't have the nav installed, but for me it's not a big problem. And then coming right down here, we've got the obviously the infotainment controls and the air conditioning, the heating controls. So I believe it all flows very nicely. And then down here we've got the electronic park and brake, your 6-speed manual gearbox, a few cup holders, an armrest, which armrest is a little bit rattly and gives the odd vibration, but I just love it. What I really love actually is this sports steering wheel. This is the S-Line model, as I mentioned earlier, and this steering wheel just has such a sporty feel to it. I believe it's a little bit smaller than the steering wheel that you would likely find in the equivalent BMW or Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz generally seem to have, for the C-Class, the W204 seems to have a really big steering wheel. It's either really big or it just feels not sporty and pretty naff. Whereas I love this steering wheel. This is one of my favourite steering wheels, and it goes perfectly with this S-Line sports saloon, which I love. So that's the third thing that I love about this car. You will never feel lost, you will never feel out of place. You will always feel like I've done all right, and I've got an all right car. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about in this car, and the next thing that I love, is the fuel consumption of the car. Miles per gallon. Now this is a 2-litre turbo diesel, so it's a TDI engine, and it gives out about 143 brake horsepower. Now I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head what the figures state in the book that it will consume. However, I'm looking at my message center in the center console here, and I'm getting 35.3 miles per gallon. Now that is not any sort of motorway miles or long distance trips. That is me simply thrashing this around the streets for the past 2 days. Everywhere I go in this car, I've always put my foot down. I've never been one to look at miles per gallon or consumption. So to get 35.3 miles per gallon, I believe that's very good. I do recall when I was the owner of this car and I was driving motorway miles, I'm fairly sure I was getting mid-40s for miles per gallon. So that's a good indication of what you could expect to get. I would say probably high 30s is more realistic. High 30s to low 40s if you're really watching the miles and if you really want to get the best consumption from this car. I think that's very much obtainable. So that's is that the fourth or the third thing? Anyway, the consumption is good in this car. Alright, so that was the fourth thing. So the fifth and final thing that I love about this car, like I say, I'm going to keep it short because I could go on forever, but the fifth and final thing I love about this car is the fact that it's so easy to diagnose any sort of fault. If you've got a fault on this car, what we would recommend you do is get the iCarSoft i908 kit, which I'll put in the link below. The reason I'm talking about this is because a lot of cars that I go to diagnose and a lot of cars I go to try and communicate with diagnostic tools, I do struggle because a lot of vehicles have certain systems in which require certain testers, and the aftermarket stuff just won't communicate with any of the systems. However, the Audi cars, the Audi A4 in particular, has always been a car that has been easy to diagnose, especially with this i908 tool. There are other kits out there, granted there are kits that can be hooked up to laptops, but if you're looking for an integrated screen, a kit that is just simply plug and play and will instantly tell you why you've got a check engine light, why you've got an ABS light, why you've got an airbag light, why you've got a traction control light. it will tell you straight away, and it'll give you a fault code, a manufacturer fault code. It will give you a description of the fault, and also will give you options to obviously erase the fault. If you do erase the fault and it comes back, then obviously you know you've got a serious problem, so you need to rectify that. Once you've rectified it, then you should be able to clear the lights instantly. So yeah, there's a few tools on the website. The i908 is the easiest and the most basic, but then you can go up to the likes of the VAG 2 kit or the VORS 2.0 kit. There are a few kits out there, but take a look at the link below, and you won't go wrong with that i908 kit. I promise you, absolutely promise you. And that's it. That is the 5 things that I love about this Audi A4 B8. Really appreciate it if you can like the video, if you can subscribe to the channel. I'm not sure if you know this, you may well not know that I am giving away a Porsche Boxster 986 on this YouTube channel. However, I do need your help. If I want to give this car away to somebody, I need to get 100,000 subscribers. So where are we now? Middle of June, we need to get 100,000 subscribers. We've currently got 29,000 subscribers. So we're getting there, slowly but surely, but all you need to do is just click that subscribe button. Every time you do that, we're one step closer to getting 100,000, and I'll be giving that Porsche Boxster away. I'll be doing it on the YouTube channel. I'll be making a full video of that, doing the handover video. Can't wait to get that done, but hopefully we'll get that done sooner rather than later. So I really need your help. I really appreciate your help if you're going to subscribe. And that's it. We'll be doing more Audi videos, more things I love, things I hate, things that'll break. Yeah, so that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.